time to start a resume. In whatever document you're using, make sure you have at least an inch margin all the way around, at least an inch margin. And if after it's done you can make that even an inch and a quarter on the sides, that would be good. Lots of white space is kind of good on a resume. Not too much white space, but places where people's eyes land, think about that as you're creating your resume. I'm going to start at the top with your name and your contact information. Lots of ways you can do this. Again, look at those templates and you'll see lots of ways. Doesn't really matter, remember, big fonts aren't impressive. So this is the way I usually do mine. On this side, I put my name and my address. And then over here on the right hand side of the page, I'll start putting those contact numbers. And again, put just as many contact numbers as you actually can be contacted at. Cell phone number, a home number if you still have a home number. If you have a job and they could contact you, if they could contact you there. If they can't contact you there without it being really awkward between you and your employer, don't list it. That's not what you want to do. Remember that you're going to be in school, maybe when they try to call you. Do you need, during the interview, to tell them, this is the main number to call me, but it's my cell number, I can't have it on in class, so I'll have to call you between classes. If you'll just leave a message, I'll call you back just as soon as I can. Things like that are really important. Other thing is an email. And an email that you will actually look at. If you never look at your school email, please don't put that one. Put the one that you actually look at and you pay attention to as part of your contact information. Okay, so the top part is your contact information. Then you're going to skip some space, at least a line, maybe a couple, depending upon how much space you have available to you. And next you're going to start with some of that other information. So where do you start? Do you start with education or do you start with work experience? Well, that depends upon what it is you're applying for and which one of those things has the most to do with the job that you are looking at. It might change depending upon the job. Oh, by the way, about those objectives that you've been taught to put here, those objectives are really good things sometimes, and sometimes they're not. So if I just graduated from college and I have this education, this new degree, but I want to just enter some very specific places with that degree, an objective is awesome because it tells those employers, yes, I have this brand new degree and this is what I'm targeting for my first job. And this is why I'm contacting you. If you've worked a long time, and a long time, could be 2 or 3 years, in one field, and now you want to cross over into a different field, that objective is important because when I look at your resume, I say, well, all of your experience is right here. And you say, yes, it is, but I want to take that experience and shift it into a job more like yours. Then the objective is good. Other than that, you don't have to tell me that you want a job with me. You wouldn't be applying for a job with me unless you wanted a job with me, and I don't need an objective for you to tell me that. So don't put an objective that says I need a job. Got that. You're applying for a job. Everybody needs a job. That goes without saying. The objective has to tell me something that I might not know already just from looking at your resume or your cover letter. That's the only time you need an objective. So we don't need an objective because this is just an entry-level job that you're applying for. You need it because you want spending money or you actually need living money. And either way, I don't need you to give me an objective to tell me that. You need a job, you're coming to me, and you want me to hire you. I got all that. So what comes next? Well, maybe it's work experience, okay? Let's say that you do have some experience as a cook at at Dairy Queen in Burley, Idaho, and you've been working there, say, 2019 to the present. And please don't go down like that, make that go all the way across. Okay, 2019 to the present, get the glare off that. Okay, good. Now, do you need to put anything else there? Well, maybe. I mean, if there were some specific skills that you have from being at Dairy Queen, like you know how to work a grill, you also know how to work a deep fryer, then yeah, maybe you put some bullets under there. But if cooking is just general cooking, and it's pretty much what I think it is, you don't need to do these. That's enough. Okay. Now, this is what you're doing right now. What if what you were doing right now wasn't cook, it was mowing lawns? Because let's say you were a cook at Dairy Queen and it was all going fine and well, but then you got on the basketball team and it was too hard trying to juggle classes and basketball and the job, so you left the job. You still would probably want to put this up front because it's the thing that has the most to do with my job. And then don't put mowing lawns up here at all. Just down here in the references, you're going to list that person that you are mowing lawns for right now. And I'm going to contact them and say, oh yeah, they mow my lawns right now. Okay. And yeah, I know that they left Dairy Queen and this is why. And so then I picked them up mowing my lawns for me to give them a little extra cash. Great, I'm going to have a conversation with the person that you mow lawns for, and I don't need it up here, and that's okay. That's all okay. So you've got your work experience up here, and the only thing that goes under experience, work experience, is work experience, where you actually got paid to do the job. Now there's lots of other experiences that you have, and we're going to talk about that, but what goes here is the work experience. Okay. Let's say that you don't have a lot of work experience. Maybe you don't have any work experience. This is the first job that you're going to be applying for. Okay, that's why it's called an entry-level job, and lots of people like you are going to be applying for them. So instead of experience, you would want to start with your education. And the reason why you're going to start with your education first, which is at Burley High School, is because while you were at Burley High School, you took a course with Mr. Withrow on cooking. And you're going to tell me that. And you're going to list Mr. Withrow down here as one of your references, and I'm going to ask him, so what did this person do in your class? How well did he or she do in the cooking class? And would they work well in my business? Didn't do well in cooking class, got a D-. Probably don't want to list that, because at that point it doesn't matter that you had a cooking class. You really didn't learn anything, and all I'm going to find out is that you failed. So don't list that if that's true. But you succeeded really well in Mr. Withrow's class, put it there. Also, Burley High School, you're still in attendance. Please don't tell me diploma pending. I'm sorry, but duh. Okay, tell me that you're a junior in there. You're a junior at Burley High School, that works. Or tell me that you're expected to graduate in 2021. Tell me when this is going to end. Okay? So you've got your education, and again, now we're talking about an entry-level person who has no experience, so maybe the next thing after your education, you don't put work experience. What you put instead are your skills, because that's something that you can list. Please don't tell me that you're a good listener. Because you know what a good listener says to me? You're going to be standing around listening to other people that you work with and listening to my customers tell you every woe that they've ever had in not doing my job. Okay, now if you ever are applying for a counseling job, then good listener might be a skill that you want to list. But I don't necessarily need a good listener. You know what I do need instead? Is someone who can take direction well. And maybe that's what you meant by good listener, is that you're going to listen to what I tell you to do and you're going to do what I tell you to do. But don't put it like that. Put it like this. You take direction well. Okay, that's a good skill. I want to know that when I tell you to do something, you're going to be on it and you're going to do it the way that I want you to do it. When I train you to do something, you're listening and paying attention, and you're going to take care of that. What other skills might you have? Well, maybe you have some skills related to grilling. You've been grilling at home since, you were 12, helping your dad grill at home, and you really do have some skills with grilling. Okay, tell me that. Now, obviously, again, if you're not applying for the cook job, you're applying for the office assistant job, telling me you have grilling experience, that's probably not something you want to list. That makes me think cook, and you want the office assistant job. So you wouldn't put that there. Instead, if you were applying for the office assistant job, you would you type 120 words per minute, which, by the way, is what I type, 120 words per minute on the computer. Okay, that helps me. That has to do with the office skills. So the skills that you're going to list here aren't just anything. They're the skills that have to do with my job. The skills that I might say, okay, great. Maybe even though you've never had a job before, you do have some customer service experience. Maybe you've volunteered in a place where you had to deal with people, like Mountain View Christian has a place where they give food to the needy, and maybe you've worked there. And so you've dealt with customers there, people who were sometimes disgruntled, and you've had to handle their situation. So even though it's not in a working environment, you still have learned the skills and you can place them here. Okay? And then any kind of a job, anything that you've ever done as a job, you can put into work experience. And you do want to list work experience. So babysitting. Yeah, put that down. Did you do babysitting? Put down whatever it is that you have done, where you have done it, how long you have done it. And it doesn't have to be bullet points. Again, you're trying to make this one page. So if babysitting is care for 2-year-old and kindergartner. Don't make that bullets that take up more space, make it one line. That only takes one space. All right? So we've got education, skills, experience. Yes, if you have some awards there, please tell me that. Like, best basketball player. Please don't put BB. Put basketball. And then what year you got it. Tell me those things. This shows, if you were the best basketball player for some sort of a tournament, that's skill, and that's also dedication. That's not just talent. You had to practice. That tells me something about your character, and that's what I'm looking for when it comes to this. Finally, when you get through experience, skills, awards, and anything that you have that you need to tell me. Certifications is another one. Are you certified in some things? Tell me that, like CPR, okay? Tell me that. Or certification in Microsoft, something. Tell me that. Tell me these certifications. Anything that you can think of that might be important for me to know, skills that you have attained, challenges that you've overcome, tell me that here in the work. And then, of course, the last thing that you're going to put are your references. You absolutely, positively have to list 3 references. Have to have 3 references. On those references, I need the reference's name, address, full address, phone number, and an email if they have it. Okay? If they don't have these things, then tell me that. No email available. No address available. Don't tell me no address available just because you didn't want to do the work and go get it. Because here's the thing. I am not going to contact these references. Mrs. Ontiveros isn't going to contact these references. The people who are doing the interviews are not going to contact these references right now. But you're going to contact them because you always contact your references before you put their name on a resume and send it out to somebody. So you're going to contact those references and you're going to get their permission, say, is it all right for me to list you as a reference? I have this class project, no one's going to call you, but is it all right if I list you as a reference? Well, why would you do that? Because when you're ready to use this resume to really apply for a job, you already have this information down there, and all you have to do is say, I am going to apply for a job now. Is it okay if I still use you as a reference, and is all this information still done? Short little conversation that you've already covered, and they've already said yes for this. So name, full address, zip code, the whole thing. Actual street address or P.O. box number, the whole thing for the address. Don't leave anything off. Phone number, yes, including area code. Phone number for every single one, contact phone number and email. Do not make it up. Do not make it up. Because you know what? A made up thing looks made up and I know it. And I will dig your grave. So actually ask these people, actually get their real information, actually really put it on here, the 3 references. Okay, now here's the thing that you may not have thought of. You don't have to list 3 references here, here, and here. It doesn't have to go like that. You can list 3 references side by side like this. And look at that. It saves you some space and keeps everything on one page. 3 references, 3 real people, all of their real contact information. Not going to contact them, but you're still going to get it and you're still going to put it on here. Okay, now, you see, who are references? Well, first of all, preferably not your parents. As a matter of fact, please don't use your parents. Even though you may have worked for your parents for 5 years on the farm, and I get it, I totally and completely get it. Please don't list your parents. Okay? Please try not to list your aunts and uncles and cousins, people that you're related to. Try to list someone you work with on the farm who isn't a relative. And that would be better than listing your parents. I tell you, every time we do this, someone lists their parents, and some interview says you really shouldn't do that, because you really shouldn't. And I get that maybe that's all you have, but please try to find other people. For instance, you're in classes 5 days a week. Well, not right now, but normally you're in classes 5 days a week. And you're working with and for teachers. List teachers. Put their names, their addresses, their phone number. Now, don't list a teacher that you got a D in their class, because guess what they're going to tell as a reference? This kid doesn't work very much. This kid doesn't do very much for me. They're going to tell the truth. The reference is going to tell the truth. So get someone that you've done a really good job for and list them. And yes, teachers, administrators, you can list them as well as people that you've worked for or worked with, people at church, people that you've done those volunteer experiences with, people that, you know, you do things with on a team, maybe a coach, someone like that. Those are the people that you want to list as your references. Make sure you have good information for them. Make sure that you have 3 of them. And then when you have all of that done, please email it to me. Please email it to me, and I will look at it. You're still going to have to print it out, either when you get back to school or you print it out at home to take to school to hand in. But let me look at it first.